its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth King Show, where it's all about health, wealth, happiness, and purpose. Dr. Elizabeth King is recognized internationally as a health and wellness expert. She is a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, speaker, and author of Dr. King's Simple Guide to Holistic Health. Listen here in South Florida on AM 1470 WNN or around the globe at www.ihchealthfusion.com. Brought to you by International Holistic Center, 3471 North Federal Highway, Fort Lauderdale, where feeling good is now an option. Call 954-903-9426 to schedule an appointment. And now, here's your host, Dr. Elizabeth King.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Elizabeth King, and I am so happy you're joining me today on my show, and I hope you're listening and watching us every Thursday at noon and on Saturdays at 7 p.m. I want to welcome my co-host today, Yvonne Haas. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Dr. King. Hello, everyone.
You know Yvonne Haas. She's been here on my show many, many times. She is a psychotherapist at the International Holistic Center, and we do a lot of shows together because Yvonne specializes in couples and families and children, and I'm a psychotherapist as well that specializes in trauma, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. So we feed off of each other, we support each other.
In more ways than one.
In more ways than one. So I'm so happy that you're joining us today, and make sure that you tune in to us every single week. We always have a wonderful guest, co-host here with me, sharing knowledge and information about your health and inspirational information as well, because we believe that feeling good is now an option, and that is truly, truly where we come from. That's the place that we come from. That if you are knowledgeable, if you have information, you can take your life to the next level, whether you're at home sitting depressed or you're at work and feeling pain. It doesn't matter. There are other options for you. It's not just medication. It's not just surgery. There's a lot more that you can do to empower yourself and take control over your life and your health. So that's what we're about, and I'm so glad you're joining us. Again, that is on Thursdays, we're here at noon, and on Saturday, the show replays at 7 p.m. You can go to our website, which is www.ihchealthfusion.com, and you can see the show because we are live streaming. It's pretty cool. So you get to see us do all kinds of stuff here. We forget sometimes you're in our living room.
Yes.
So excuse
like right
us.
now, I'm going to switch the mic because mine's not working.
Okay, do that. And but you can also listen to us on the radio while you're driving. And she's moving my mic. And that's on 1470 AM in South Florida. You can hear us all the way from Palm Beach down to Dade County. So I'm so glad. And Freddie, our producer for the live streaming, was telling us that our numbers are increasing all over the world, which is very exciting. People are watching us in Croatia, in Norway, all over, in Switzerland, everywhere, South Africa. So to all of our friends in Europe and all over the world, hello, and thank you for joining us as well. And maybe someday we can meet in person. You can come down to our beautiful South Florida sometime. We have a lot to share in reference to our event that's coming up. We're only 2.5 weeks away, and we're so excited. If you have not heard, and I doubt that you have not heard, I'm sure even people in South Africa have heard, we are doing our Suit, Stilettos, and Lipstick, the second annual The Balancing Act, which is our women's conference. It is an empowerment conference. It is a health conference. It is a business conference. It is a conference for women that want to learn the tools and really fortify their resources so that they can be the best that they can be, so that they can accomplish the levels that they want to accomplish in their business and in their life and in their health.
And, and that's the crux of it. And some of the side benefits are they get to connect with all these other women, throughout the day and spend the day. It's at the Ritz-Carlton. It's like pampering yourself for the day. You know, and we do have a lot of fun.
We do. We have a
do.
lot of fun. Well, part of learning how to balance, right, is learning to enjoy life. And, you know, you should not just be working and working and working and forget that there is life to be had, you know. That's what we're working so hard to do, is to enjoy our lives. And when we get older, why can't we enjoy life? Well, we're young enough to enjoy it.
Do you know, I saw an article on Facebook, which is where I get most of my news, like most people, and it was written by a nurse who works in hospice, and it was the top 5 things people regret the most in their last breaths. One of them was working too much.
Wow, I just have a caller, someone from Facebook saying that her specialty is domestic violence. And Angelita, if you're looking at the program right now, if you want to chime in and call into the station, it's 888-565-1470. You're more than welcome to give some of your area of expertise. And anyone out there, if you have questions, if you work in this area, we certainly love that. I just wanted to put that out there. I didn't want to ignore her. She was like flashing little messages. But yes, going back to the conference, I went off a little bit on the tangent there. The conference is on July 12th, and it is at the Ritz-Carlton. Beautiful setting right on Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's a day to pamper yourself. It's a day to embrace your womanhood. It's a day to learn and connect with other women and to do business, because it is a business conference as well. So you're not just putting off your whole life. A lot of people have, especially women, we have a hard time giving up a day for ourselves.
An hour.
An hour for ourselves. We'll give it up if it's related to business, if it's related to our families, our children, our husbands, and everyone else. But when we say, can you give up a day to really gain a lifetime for you? They go, let me think about that. Now, I want you to think about what I just said. You're giving a day to gain a lifetime for you. If you can just embrace that thought that there's possibilities for you to have freedom of guilt and of all of those thoughts and messages that we have in our head, if you can think of, maybe this would help me with self-growth, maybe you can find some time to give this day to yourself. This is your gift. And if you have a husband or a boyfriend, ask them to pay for it. And if they don't pay for it, you pay for it yourself.
That's right.
It's your day. And how you get information about Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick is very simple. Go to suitsstilettosandlipstick.com, and that's with the word "and," suits with an S, plural, stilettos with an S, plural, and lipstick.com. I think Freddie will probably put that up on the board so you'll be able to see that. And if you forget that, you can go to ichealthfusion.com and you would be able to click to our website as well. But we want to see you there. It's July 12th. If you need a partial scholarship, we do have wonderful people in the community that have donated some scholarships for partial scholarships for women that cannot afford to go. But this is a conference for women that are in all socioeconomic levels, because it doesn't matter where you're at in your career and in your journey in life. What matters is, are you ready to take action for yourself? That's really the question, and we want you there. Again, Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick, the balancing act. If you, do we have any exhibitors tables left?
We have maybe 3 spots.
I think we keep saying that, and I think we're going to be very nervous when we have booked those 3 spots 10 times over. We keep getting,
We might have 1 spot.
I say you call us and check on that. I think Anna was going to the Ritz today, and she's going to check for us, so we better be sure. But if you are interested in being an exhibitor, call us, call Yvonne at the center, which is 954-903-9426, or go on our website, suitsstilettosandlipstick.com, and you can download an exhibitor's packet, fill it out, send her an email, and then she will get back with you. We may be closing it down really soon, because I really seriously think that we've been giving away those 3 spots a few times.
I think it's like this week it'll be closed.
It'll be done,
And tomorrow's Friday.
So get on it right now. But it's going to be fabulous. 350 women. I mean, how can it not be fabulous?
Exactly.
At the Ritz.
At the Ritz. On the beach.
On the beach.
On a Friday.
On a Friday. See the stilettos? That's what this is here for. This is our mascot. So that you know everywhere you go, we travel with this, and it's really fun. Today we have a very serious topic.
Yes, we do. Very serious, but very important.
Very important, very serious, and something that we see more and more of, domestic violence. And like I said to Angelita, who just sent me a Facebook message, and this is her specialty, anyone that is in this area can identify with the numbers that are increasingly getting worse.
Yes.
Right? We only have a minute before we go to commercial break, but maybe you could start talking about some of those stats.
Yeah, a couple of stats, and I'm glad that you said that the numbers are growing, because there tends to be, ebb and flow of things in the news. And so we think that since the O.J. Simpson trials and things had settled down, maybe domestic violence is not so prevalent because we don't hear about it as much in the news. But it hasn't changed, and the stats actually continue to grow. So just so we all know, we're on the same page, every 9 seconds in the United States, a woman is assaulted or beaten. Every 9 seconds. Okay? That's a huge amount of women. Around the world, at least 1 in every 3 women have been beaten, coerced into sex, or otherwise abused in her lifetime. 1 in 3 women around the world.
Wow. That's serious.
These are the numbers that are reported. So we know that there are several numbers that are not reported. Because
I'm sure
it's still hush-hush. It's very embarrassing to discuss domestic violence for a lot of people.
I would gather that those numbers are very low compared to what really is happening.
Right.
I really am very convinced about that. I know that I treat a lot of patients, a lot of clients that are going through domestic violence, and they've never reported.
Right.
They've never reported.
Well, and we'll talk about this obviously, but there's so much shame and guilt that the women walk away with, as though it's their shame and guilt that this has happened. And so therefore they don't want to share that information. So
if you are going through this, or you know someone that is going through this, stay with this program. This is your program. You're going to get some tools. We're going to be right back.
When it comes to Hispanic platforms, Televisa Publishing and Digital is leading the way. In 2013, Televisa's Publishing and Digital's audited titles will deliver an annual audience reach of over 8 million readers per month, making Televisa Publishing and Digital the leading Spanish-language publisher in the country, controlling 55% of the audience amongst the top 10 titles in the U.S. Hispanic market, according to Simmons' Winter 2012 release. Televisa.com is your one-stop site for premium content and features over 10 channels with over 100 microsites offering exclusive world-class content like breaking news, entertainment, and sports. It also houses their female and business news network, Vanidades.com, CosmopolitanEspanol.com, TVYnovelas.com, and Poder360.com. Ranking in the top 10 Hispanic sites with 11 million visits, 3.7 million unique users, and over 58 million page views a month. Find your place in the Hispanic platform with Televisa Publishing and Digital. Your path to true health and wellness is unique and requires treating the whole person, not just a disease or worse, a set of symptoms. Founded and led by Dr. Elizabeth King, the International Holistic Center in Fort Lauderdale offers the most effective and comprehensive approach to health and wellness by fusing conventional and alternative therapies to address the whole person. From the moment you step into the spa-like atmosphere at IHC and meet the expert multidisciplinary staff, you'll know that you've entered a place dedicated to providing exemplary physical, emotional, and spiritual care tailored to meet your specific needs. Located at 3471 North Federal Highway, Suite 410 in Fort Lauderdale, IHC specialists offer acupuncture, counseling, life coaching, thermography, on-demand, massage therapy, and a lot more. For more information or to make an appointment, please call 954-903-9426. That's 954-903-9426. Or visit them on the web at ihchealthfusion.com. Feeling good is now an option.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Elizabeth King, and I am so happy you're joining me today. I have Yvonne Haas as my co-host today. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Dr. King.
I'm glad you're here with me again.
Always happy to be here.
Yes, Yvonne is the clinical director at the International Holistic Center, and she's a psychotherapist, as I am. You know that the center, we house acupuncture, massage therapy, nutritional counseling, food sensitivity testing, and a whole slew of other things. So you go on our website, which is www.ihchealthfusion.com. Take a look at all of our services, make an appointment, and come on in and start feeling good, because feeling good is now an option. Today we're talking about domestic violence, a very, very serious topic, and something that I think so many more women need to hear about, because I think there's so much shame, like Yvonne, you mentioned before. There is so much shame. I also wanted to just say that the reason we're talking about this topic, especially today, is that our charity partner for Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick, our conference, is Women in Distress, and we support them. You know, I've been using Women in Distress as a resource since I was in the school board, and I always found them to be such incredible resources for women going through difficult situations in their lives. If you need information about Women in Distress, you go to womenindistress.org and you'll get all that information. You can go to our website as well, suitstilettosandlipstick.com, and you will see their information on there as well. So our charity partner is Women in Distress, and we are going to give a portion of the proceeds to them. So come on out to Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick and help out a local charity.
Absolutely. I mean, they've been a pillar in the community for,
I think, 30-something years. Yes, something like that. Yeah, amazing. Mary Riddle is the CEO of Women in Distress right now, and I love her energy. I love what she's doing. In fact, after the show, we're going to stop by there and take a tour of their beautiful campus. So we'll get to see them. Okay, so back to this very important topic. Did you have some more stats to share?
Yeah, well, first I want to say, before I share another stat, when we broke off before commercial and we said, if domestic violence has impacted you, or someone this would be a show for you. But if you are the parent of a girl, if you have a daughter, it would be very important for her to hear this information as well, especially if she's at the age where she's starting to date, because so much of this is happening in adolescent dating. There are huge, huge numbers of violence being reported in adolescent relationships. When I taught anger management for adolescent boys many years ago, most of them were in there for battering their girlfriends. So,
oh, absolutely. It's really strange, because parents would never believe that.
No.
That their daughters are being abused and beaten, and you'd be surprised how many are.
And you would be surprised too that the teenage girls, when you discuss this in their classes, already have the mindset that there's a possibility that the girl deserved it. There's already a seed planted, and we're talking about an adolescent group starting with, pretty much age 12 and up. So even young girls at the age of 12. But one of the stats that I wanted to report, because I feel this one is very important, is just that domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women. The leading cause, and that is more than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined.
Oh my goodness.
And we know how many car accidents there are.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. Leading cause of injury to women.
Wow. And I also want to add, we don't have stats for men. This is not unique to women alone. Men also are going through the situation, but it's just not as reported.
It's not as reported, and a lot of men are too embarrassed to report it. So if you are a man listening and you have experienced domestic violence, there is help for you, because we understand that it does happen. I also taught the women's groups that had
Did
been
you?
arrested. I did. I taught the women's groups and the men's groups for those who had been arrested for domestic violence, and there were some interesting cases.
I'm sure. Since you were in that scene for a long time, Yvonne, can you share with us what you feel is the mentality of the abuser?
You know what? Yes, in one word, it's ownership.
Wow.
It is ownership. It is, and I worked in domestic violence for 12 years, and it was the prevalent theme from group to group, from person to person, and it was just this sense of ownership. And someone would say, "But she's mine." And I said, "No, a chair may be yours, but a person is not yours." And they have no concept of that. They feel that they're entitled, their ownership, that's their owned. And it was interesting because in group, I never allowed the men to refer to their wives or girlfriends as wife or girlfriend or my old lady. That's my least favorite one. I always had them refer to them by their name, because when you have a name, you're not an object. You know, we don't name our chairs, we name people. So, and they would struggle. They did not want to use her name.
Wow. That's very interesting. And for women, why do we accept that? That is the big question. What did you see and hear from women?
Well, I didn't. With the women, it was very interesting, and it's interesting because it can happen to any woman. So it doesn't matter her economic status. It doesn't matter her education status. None of that is important in the world of domestic violence because it crosses every barrier there is, socially speaking. But it's such in a sick way, a talent that the batterer has of very slowly pulling down someone's self-worth to the point where you can actually get the women to say to you, "I deserved it. I understand. If only I had just left him alone. I know how he is when he gets home from work," or "I know how he is when he's drinking," you know, something to that effect. And it's very calculated. The batterer is extremely calculating.
I see that so much in our practice. I see women that come in, beautiful, gorgeous women with professions, and I see and hear their pain, and absolutely the self-esteem is down on the floor, to the point that either they're being beaten on a daily or weekly or whenever basis. It doesn't matter if it's one time you're getting hit. I've had women say to me, "But he only hit me once," or he only tried to choke me. It wasn't that bad.
Right. He only pushed me, but I was in his way.
But I was in his way.
So you see these women start to make excuses for their partner's behavior. You know, and all of that is really them saying, on some level, "I deserved it." You know, and it's very interesting to watch the batterers at work and how they actually go in and start tearing somebody's self-worth to shreds.
Many times, an aggressor, the batterer, will start with psychological and emotional abuse. They will begin to eat up your self-esteem. Exactly what you were saying, right? But they may not start with the hitting.
Yeah, they vary. In all the years I worked in domestic violence, I never had someone come in and say, "Yep, on the first date I hit her." I mean, just really, they're very, very charming.
Charming, calculating, manipulative, and obviously they have issues. I mean, people that hit other people have issues. They usually have anger issues because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. So they get frustrated and they lash out at people, at their spouse or their girlfriend, because they themselves have low self-esteem.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You know, they have no ability to see how to problem solve, how to speak things out. So they get so angry, they burst. A lot of times they also have alcoholism.
There's a lot of substance abuse with domestic violence. What I would like to say with anger, though, is that there are different types of batterers. Some of them are very angry when they batter, and some of them are laughing when they batter. And that's the more deadly of the two.
Do you see that very often, though? Is that something that would be common?
Not since I'm out of the loop, you don't see too much of that, but within the groups,
Really?
yes.
So they're hitting.
And they tend to be higher educated.
Interesting. And what is their, their position? I mean, do you just start hitting on someone while you're laughing?
Oh, yeah. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. And what part of it was, too, with some of them, actually, is they would like to keep her guessing. So here she is thinking that they're having a good day or a good moment, and all of a sudden, in the middle of that moment, with the smile still on his face, he would be physically abusive to his wife or girlfriend.
And of course, after the beating, then comes the honeymoon stage. That's when everything goes back to normal. Then that person becomes super charming. They apologize and cry. They tell you they never meant to hurt you.
It won't happen again.
And it won't ever happen again. And the woman starts to believe. And
She hopes.
she hopes and thinks that, this is it. This is the last time. This is the last time. I don't know how many women I have actually treated in my practice that will come after 20 years still being beaten, thinking this is the last
Yes.
time. And but Dr. King, everything is great now. He's a great provider, and he loves me, and he takes care of our children, and and he's promised this is it. He's
Yes.
not gonna do anything.
Well, there are so many threats in these relationships. If you leave me, you'll never see your children again. If you leave me, I'll ruin, for a professional businesswoman, they say things like, I'll ruin your reputation around town. But there's also this underlying plug that a lot of the batterers use, where they say to their partners, nobody will ever love you the way that I love you, or as much as I love you. And there's a part of her that truly starts to believe that. And, we can look at it and say, well, if that's love, please let me find someone who will love me differently. But there's a huge portion of her that says, you know what, that's a possibility. And what about my children? Because oftentimes when you do therapy and you have a survivor of domestic abuse and you have the batterer sitting there, she'll feel like she's in a safe place. So she'll start getting very emotional and unloading in the session. And the batterer will sit there and say, see, I tell everyone she's going crazy. So that happens in our court system, too.
We have to go to commercial break, but when we come back, we'll go ahead and continue on this very, very important and serious topic, domestic violence. We're going to be right back.
Did you know that over 50% of marriages end in divorce and over 70% of second marriages end in divorce? This is Yvonne Haas, licensed psychotherapist with the International Holistic Center, and I expertly guide couples and families through their many transitions. Whether you are just beginning, looking to reignite or resolve conflicts in your relationship, or going through a divorce, I can support you and your family. I am also a certified parenting coordinator and member of the Florida Adoption Council. Call me at 954-903-9426, and remember, feeling good is now an option.
Your path to true health and wellness is unique and requires treating the whole person, not just a disease, or worse, a set of symptoms. Founded and led by Dr. Elizabeth King, the International Holistic Center in Fort Lauderdale offers the most effective and comprehensive approach to health and wellness by fusing conventional and alternative therapies to address the whole person. From the moment you step into the spa-like atmosphere at IHC and meet the expert multidisciplinary staff, you'll know that you've entered a place dedicated to providing exemplary physical, emotional, and spiritual care tailored to meet your specific needs. Located at 3471 North Federal Highway, Suite 410 in Fort Lauderdale, IHC specialists offer acupuncture, counseling, life coaching, thermography, on-demand, massage therapy, and a lot more. For more information or to make an appointment, please call 954-903-9426. That's 954-903-9426. Or visit them on the web at ihchealthfusion.com. Feeling good is now an option.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Elizabeth King. I'm so happy you're joining me today again with Yvonne Haas here. We're here on Thursdays at noon. Saturday, the show replays at 7 p.m. You can always go to our website, which is www.ihchealthfusion.com. Check us out there. Make sure that you get your tickets for Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick, which you can go to the website, which is suitsstilettosandlipstick.com. This is the conference of a lifetime. This is life-changing. This is, not because we created it, but because it is what it is. In fact, it is a movement. It is not just a conference. It is a movement for better health, for more wealth, and a happier, more purposeful life, if I could say it. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but it is a wonderful day for you. And we always say, put your oxygen mask on first, and that's what this is about. Suits, Stilettos, and Lipstick, July 12th at the Ritz-Carlton, Fort Lauderdale. If you're watching us in any part of the world, you can fly down and be with us for the weekend. It will be lovely to have you there. We're talking about a very, very serious and important topic today, domestic violence. If you have a question and you are not comfortable in calling, you may Facebook me. I am Dr. Elizabeth King. You can friend me and I will accept your friendship. And you can private message me, whatever it takes. We are talking about this topic because, number one, we are committed to helping women be empowered. Number two, that we are seeing an influx of women coming to our center with domestic violence issues. And number three, we are in total support of our charity partner, Women in Distress, our local charity that supports women going through this situation. So if you need information, womenindistress.org is their website, and please give us a call at our center, 954-903-9426. We are here to support you. No one, no woman, no man, no one should be living under circumstances that they feel fear and they feel like they're trapped. There's ways out. We promise there are ways out. I want to talk about the long-term effects of domestic violence. You want to start sharing a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, one of the biggest long-term effects of domestic violence is homicide. And 46% of all female homicide victims, compared to only 5% of male homicide victims, are killed by their current or former partner.
Wow, those are big numbers.
It's a huge number.
And we see this on TV, right? Because even the stars, the celebrities, the sports figures are constantly on the news because they beat up their wife.
Right.
We don't want to mention names, but it's always on the news.
It is always on the news. And, I think in part to just help people out there, bring awareness to them. Listen, it's happening everywhere, because if we have people who aren't discussing it, if we put it on the news, at least people realize, oh, you know what? It's not just in my family that this happens. But some other long-term effects, a lot of women end up homeless due to domestic violence because they run from their home. They're unaware of shelters and support out there for them. They have no financial means because a lot of time their partner is controlling the money, so they have no access to income. And so it says that 40% of all homeless women state that domestic violence is their cause of homelessness.
Wow.
40%.
For, again, very, very large numbers we're talking about. And injuries. What about injuries?
Injuries. Like we said earlier, there are more injuries due to domestic violence than auto accidents and rape combined. So it's the leading cause of injuries to women.
Again, huge numbers. And we're talking now in the U.S. We're talking, this is not in a remote area, third world countries.
Right.
This is happening in our homes, in our children's homes, okay, in our own homes. So we need to do something about it.
Absolutely. And, we think, oh, I live in this really nice neighborhood. Please remember, domestic violence knows no social barrier. So you can have the multi-million-dollar homes where domestic violence is going on, or you can have the inner city home. It really doesn't matter. It crosses all lines. There's also a huge consequence to our health as women with domestic violence. Obviously we know, and a lot of you know, that it's a mind-body connection. And when you're living in that much fear, with that much tension, and you never know when the shoe is going to drop, there's a huge impact on our health as women and our children's health.
Well, in our center, we see women with depression, with anxiety. I mean, I literally have had women call me and say, I need to come in now because I'm going to lose it. I'm in the middle of, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. And when they come in, they've been tortured, really tortured for years of physical, emotional, psychological abuse. And there comes a point that they just cannot do it anymore.
Right.
And, they go into panic attacks. They go into severe depression. I mean, all kinds of mental health conditions as well as physical. So this is again, no joke.
Right.
No
and
joke.
we have a lot of women with post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Absolutely.
And it can be years after they have left a violent relationship where they're actually experiencing flashbacks, and different panic attacks and things related to, and they're not even with the abuser anymore.
Well, I want to piggyback on that particular topic because we also have to be recognizing what's going on in our children's minds.
Yes.
We have children that are witnessing this. And I'm bringing this back because what happens is if you were also raised in a home where there was domestic violence, then you almost see this as almost like your rite of passage. This is what happens in homes. You have not developed an appropriate way of having a healthy relationship. And this is the type of man that you will attract into your life, that you want in your life. You like the drama. You like the explosion.
It's familiar.
It's familiar. I had a woman that was a patient of mine that said to me, it bores me if there's not all of this drama.
If he's not jealous.
If he's not jealous, he needs to be jealous. And I'm not talking about jealous like you care that someone's talking to another guy. I'm talking like going on a rampage, throwing things, hitting and stomping because the milkman dropped off something or the mailman dropped off something, right?
Right. The milkman.
The milkman. I'm aging. That's right. There's no milkman
there
anymore.
There are no milkmen.
I don't think I ever grew up when there was a milkman.
I don't think you did either.
I don't know where that came from. Okay, so I have Alzheimer's today. All right, I remember the past that I did not live. Okay, the mailman is what I'm talking about. Dropping off the mail and saying hello to you. Well, why was that guy saying hello to you? Why is that guy interested in you? No, I said hello. No, and there it begins, the explosion, And so the children, I'm going back to the children, are witnessing this. So you have a vicious cycle.
Yes, and not only, just to give you an example, not only do they witness it, sometimes the batterer is actually teaching the child, like literally teaching. I had a gentleman in a group who his father told him, he was up in the tree and his father said, "No, jump, I'll catch you." And the kid jumped, and the father took 3 steps back, and the kid fell from the tree and broke his arm. And his father said, "Here's your first lesson in life, never trust anyone," and walked off.
Oh my goodness.
Right, so it's literally raising a batterer.
Wow. That's very severe stuff, right? So your children, what is going on in your children's lives? Are they seeing this? Even if your child is a year old, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If they're witnessing you being beat up, they are taking that information in. That is forming their brains. And this is not to give you guilt. This is to give you empowerment to know that there has to be a way out. And there is a way out. You just have to be strong enough. You have to be willing to risk living in your comfortable home. For maybe living in an apartment,
Or shelter
for a little while you get yourself back on your feet. But the trade-offs are just, really, I think in my head, are unquestionably something you need to do. Being beat up every day, living in a very beautiful home, and having no peace and having your children witness this, or living in peace of mind. Even if it's you putting it together, and you do have all the resources out there.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
it's also
really
learning
important.
to be aware of the resources. I can't tell you how many women I met that did not know that Women in Distress was available to them. They would say things to me like, I can't afford to go.
Well, I had a client one time tell me, well, I make $100,000 a year. My husband doesn't make as much money as I do, but I feel like I'm totally dependent on him. In her mind, she had no idea that she was really the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And she said, but who's going to help me with my children? And I said, well, is he helping you now? Does he pick up your children? Well, not really. I'm like, so again, what is it that you're missing there? Oh, I said, build your resources. Build your resources. Do you have a girlfriend that can maybe pick up your children while you go and pick up her children sometime? Switch, barter. And it was like an epiphany for her. It gave her such freedom to see possibilities. She said, build my resources. Oh my gosh. I felt so trapped. I'm like, absolutely. That's how you get out. We have to put a plan together, and it has to be a very well thought out plan so that you feel comfortable. But there is definitely ways to get out.
You definitely need to develop a safety plan with a professional who has experience helping set safety plans, because you don't want, in a lot of these situations, you don't want to miss a step.
I know that we have skipped over this employment. You want to talk a little bit about what happens with
Well, a
employment?
lot of women actually lose their job because what happens too is the batterer shows up at their job, starts harassing them at the job, harasses the boss at the job, especially if you have a male boss, it might happen. And just literally the absenteeism from women not going to work because their face has been battered. You can only say you walked into the kitchen cabinet so many times, and no one's going to believe that. So due to the absenteeism and the harassment at work, a lot of them lose their jobs.
And another thing is that they sometimes lose their children.
They do.
And that's because you're putting your children at risk. And so if they go and report to their schools, now a lot of children learn how to be, how to not tell the truth, really. Deceitful really is the word, because they don't want their parents to get in trouble.
Right.
So they might, because usually if they're beating the wife, they may be beating the children too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that as well?
Yes, absolutely. I've seen children come to school with broken arms from domestic violence.
We're going to go to commercial
Yes.
break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about solutions. Don't leave us.
When it comes to Hispanic platforms, Televisa Publishing and Digital is leading the way. In 2013, Televisa's Publishing and Digital's audited titles will deliver an annual audience reach of over 8 million readers per month, making Televisa Publishing and Digital the leading Spanish-language publisher in the country, controlling 55% of the audience amongst the top 10 titles in the U.S. Hispanic market, according to Simmons' Winter 2012 release. Televisa.com is your one-stop site for premium content and features over 10 channels with over 100 microsites offering exclusive world-class content like breaking news, entertainment, and sports. It also houses their female and business news network, Vanidades.com, CosmopolitanEspanol.com, TVynovelas.com, and Poder360.com. Ranking in the top 10 Hispanic sites with 11 million visits, 3.7 million unique users, and over 58 million page views a month. Find your place in the Hispanic platform with Televisa Publishing and Digital. Your path to true health and wellness is unique and requires treating the whole person. not just a disease, or worse, a set of symptoms. Founded and led by Dr. Elizabeth King, the International Holistic Center in Fort Lauderdale offers the most effective and comprehensive approach to health and wellness by fusing conventional and alternative therapies to address the whole person. From the moment you step into the spa-like atmosphere at IHC and meet the expert multidisciplinary staff, you'll know that you've entered a place dedicated to providing exemplary physical, emotional, and spiritual care, tailored to meet your specific needs. Located at 3471 North Federal Highway, Suite 410 in Fort Lauderdale, IHC specialists offer acupuncture, counseling, life coaching, thermography, on-demand, massage therapy, and a lot more. For more information or to make an appointment, please call 954-903-9426. That's 954-903-9426. Or visit them on the web at ihchealthfusion.com. Feeling good is now an option.
Welcome back. I'm so happy you're joining us today, and I hope that you watch this program every Thursday at noon, Saturdays at 7 p.m. This program is for you. This program is dedicated to empower you and inspire you to live a happier, healthier life. We always have wonderful information and great co-hosts, such as Yvonne Haas, who is sitting across the way, and you're welcome. Thank you for being here and being part of my journey, actually.
It's an incredible journey.
An incredible journey.
Incredible journey, incredible opportunity.
Thank you. Today we're talking about domestic violence, something very, very serious, and something that I want to personally say and invite you to making a difference in your life. Change it. There are things, there are resources, there are organizations such as Women in Distress. There are therapists. There are people out there that are there to support you. Don't go to your friends and family crying and saying, I can't get out of this, because I'm telling you that you can. You can. You just have to come up with a plan, and we are there to help you and support you. Don't live that way. You don't deserve it. Your children don't deserve it. It's time to do something different. I would love for you, and I'm inviting you from the bottom of my heart to suitstilettosandlipstick.com and look at our website. Take a look at our event. Take a look at the resources that are out there, so that you know that you're not in this alone. You really are not. There are a lot of caring people out there and a lot of caring women that are there to support you. Come to the conference on July 12th. Just start surrounding yourself with positive messages and start seeing the possibilities, because you deserve it. You deserve to be here and do the wonderful things that you want to do in your life and help your children. I'm glad you're joining us today. I want to talk about solutions because that's really so important.
I want to make a note, though, because you had said, don't go crying to your family and friends, do something. A lot of these women don't have family and friends because they have been isolated. So if you are in that situation, please know that there is still an entire community that is a resource for you. You can go back and mend those relationships that you have been isolated from. But if you don't happen to have those, there are obviously, like Women in Distress, there's a whole community out there.
Let's talk about the psycho-emotional aspect of domestic violence for the woman. Why don't you start a little bit speaking about that? What is it that you see in your practice with women that are abused? You talked about self-esteem and just feeling very belittled. What else have you seen?
I've seen women say to me, I can't imagine my life without this. And when I say without what? And they say, just without all of this. I can't even imagine how I'm going to function, how I'm going to manage. And what I see predominantly, aside from self-esteem issues, is just really outright fear. There's a huge fear. If I leave, he will kill me. He has told me he will kill me. So they feel safer. There's an expression that the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And these women will say to you, I feel, at least if I can see him and I know where he is, I feel safer. So it's the fear is crippling, I think, for so many of these women.
Absolutely. I think they also fear being homeless.
Yes.
And rightfully so, right? If you live in a beautiful home and you really don't have the means to get out, you feel like, well, if I get out, I'm going to be in a shelter, and if you're not used to that kind of lifestyle, that is really harsh. But there are so many laws to protect you, and most likely, I mean, I'm not an attorney, and Yvonne is not an attorney, but most likely you may get your home back, through a divorce. You may get your home back because, Florida is a 50-50 state. So there's a lot of different things that you have to just build the resources, come up with the game plan, and then start plugging in what information you need so that you prepare this plan of action so that when you are ready to go, you're ready to go. There are attorneys out there that will definitely give you guidance. I mean,
Yes.
we have Carol Ann Maza, who is one of our speakers, our panelists at the conference, and she's also on our advisory board, and she does collaborative law. At some point, I'd love to have Carol Ann here, Jennifer Waterway. I mean, there are a lot of attorneys in this area, women attorney, that are really out there looking out for the woman's behalf, and they're going to guide you. They're going to help you to do this. Usually collaborative divorce is probably not the best.
Domestic violence.
Not always, but you never know. You never know. You can throw that out completely because sometimes you can actually reason for a little while. It may not last for very long. It just depends on the level of dysfunction that you're living in and for how long. So, definitely there's opportunities. I also wanted to ask you about the children. What do they do with their children at this point? Now they've been witnessing domestic violence for 3 or 4 years. What happens with these children?
What happens with them emotionally?
Emotionally, yes.
Emotionally, children learn, there are quite a few things that they learn. They learn not to trust people. They learn that relationships are about violence. They learn that that's how you resolve issues. So, of course, you see them resolving issues similarly on the school playground or in their classroom. They learn that it's okay if you have daughters or sometimes sons, either way. They learn that it's okay for somebody who says, I love you, to treat you that way. And they also learn that you're supposed to forgive and forget them. Forget what's happened, and just keep going, and that you're responsible for making all the changes and the other person is not. So a lot of times I see a lot of kids in my practice who are so angry at their mom for not leaving. And because they would say to me, why does she think that I deserve to live like this? And so you see a lot of them, when moms do leave, some of their sons and daughters have reacted violently to the mom. There's been a lot. What they do is they tend to build up a lot of things. I mean, I've seen children who hide in garbage cans, escaping the violence in their home. There's a lot of post-traumatic stress for these kids once they leave. And sometimes it lasts, their impact lasts a little longer because they don't have the coping skills as a young child or they can't wrap their mind around what's happening. But we also see a lot of physical things like regressive behaviors. There's bedwetting, demanding attention seeking type of behaviors. Our teenagers, sexually promiscuous.
Absolutely.
And of course, in violent dating relationships also.
So we're getting close to the end of our show. What would be 3 tips that you would give the ladies out there?
The first tip, tell someone. Tell someone what's happening in your home. Believe it or not, people are not shocked anymore. This is not, many, many years ago. Tell some person what's happening in your home. Another thing, look at the resources in your community. See what is out there for you. If you're down here, we're here for you. Women in Distress is here for you. And the third thing I would tell you is start developing your safety plan, which means start taking some things that are important to you and hiding them someplace else. Because a lot of women go back for their children's baby book. And that's when, things really get violent.
I would add to that, my suggestion, along with all of Yvonne's, which are excellent suggestions, is also to start saving money aside. Whatever money you can, put off, if you have a friend that you can save it, a sister or somewhere, that you can put money little at a time so that you have some money when you do leave to fall back on. I know we're at the top of our hour and we need to go ahead and say goodbye to you for this week. I hope this program was beneficial to you. I hope that you take action, pick up the phone, get some help. If you're down here, it's 954-903-9426, and the website is www.ihchealthfusion.com. We want you to come back and listen to our program, and thank you, Yvonne, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It was wonderful, and I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful week, and don't forget to buy your ticket to the conference and give us a call, and don't forget that feeling good is now an option. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful one. Bye.
You've been listening to the Dr. Elizabeth King Show, brought to you by International Holistic Center, 3471 North Federal Highway,